Mohamed Ibrahim. Professor Dr. Norlinah Mohamed Ibrahim is a senior consultant neurologist and professor of neurology specializing in movement disorder at UKM Medical Center. In 2007, Dr. Norlinah completed a one-year intensive fellowship in movement disorder and Parkinson's disease at the Institute of Neurology, Queen Square, London. She was the head of neurology unit from 2007 to 2011, and later become the head of Department of Medical Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, from 2011 to 2016. Dr. Norlinah was also the first chair of Movement Disorder Council of Malaysia from 2010 to 2014, and she is the recipient of the High Impact Grant from UK in 2012 and 2019. Research Award from the Faculty of Medicine in 2016. Anugerah Pitara UKM in 2016. She was the recipient of the Distinguished Graduate Award by Medical Graduate Alumni of UC College Dublin for the year of 2018 and received Excellent Service Award from the faculty in 2010 and 2019. Without further delay, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Norlinah Mohamed Ibrahim for the group research scope and activities.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haikal. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Allow me to share my slide. We are the SUPREMA Neuroscience Neuroimaging Group. So basically, we are a combination of three research groups, and let me share with you who we are exactly. So this neurosciences group is chaired by me, whereas the neuroimaging group is chaired by Professor Dr. Shahizon from the Department of Radiology, where SUPREMA group is chaired by Professor Dr. Chan Lai Fong from the Department of Psychiatry. We are just a group of clinicians and scientists working together in the field of neurosciences, and the mind. Okay, let me show you our team and collaborators. And you can see that we consist of neurologists, neurosurgeons, and neuroradiologists, including interventional radiologists. And SUPREMA team is Professor Chan Lai Fong and the team. And our collaborators, we have Dr. Azian from UMBI, Dr. Siti Aisha, and we have neuroscientists, Professor J. Kumar, Professor Susanna, Professor Zurina, who works with us sometimes for some of the projects, Professor Teo, Dr. Fairuz, Dr. Hanafi, and then we have Dr. Fazila who works with us. And we have our collaborators with Faculty of Pharmacy, Dr. Kaisan, Dr. Norazlin from FSK, Prof Kartini, she's retired, and Dr. Azrul, FMRI, and Dr. Hanani as well. She's also part of our neuroimaging team. And we have various other collaborators. So let me share with you, because we consist of three groups, I have to present each of them separately. So SUPREMA stands for Suicide Prevention Research in Malaysia. It's chaired by Professor Chan Lai Fong. That's the contact details. And just a snapshot of what has been achieved by Professor Chan Lai Fong. And you can see she has received a Dana Luar from the Malaysian Psychiatric Association for the Media Safe Reporting Workshop. So she's very active in the media and also in the community regarding suicide prevention. And she has also received an international grant from the University of Edinburgh, which is still ongoing, totaling to about 86,000. And she's part of the TRGS grant on the REAL, which is emotional regulation of Malaysian adolescent. And Dr. Chan Lai Fong has been very active, and we know that she's actively published in very high impact journal, and this is a suicide prevention research group. And if anybody is interested, you may contact her on this on her email address if there's interest in working with her regarding suicide, especially in how to prevent, and if there are any collaboration that you're interested, please contact Prof. Chan Lai Fong. And next we move on to the neuroimaging group. neuroimaging is a study of the structure and function of the nervous system by means of imaging technology. And it's a non-invasive way of looking at the brain, and it complements a lot of our clinical, clinical diagnosis. And we cannot survive without neuroimaging because it tells us what is the pathology, or at least we cannot get access to the pathology. At least we can see what is the problem with the brain. And the head for this group is Professor Dr. Shahizon Azura. This is just an interesting picture of what neuroimaging can do. And we do have structural imaging, and we have fMRI here, and we also have EEG, and we can do various neuroengineering using neuroimaging technology. So some of our projects are like that, so I'll share with you shortly. So this is a slide shared by Professor Shahizon to show what is happening in the field of neuroimaging. So in the neurodiagnostic team is herself, Dr. Aida and Dr. Faiza. And in the neurointerventional group is Professor Rosman and Dr. Leong, and they are responsible for the stroke thrombectomy. So, and they are doing endovascular research, cerebral aneurysm, flow diverter stents, and vascular malformations. And as you know, UKM is one of the leading centers for stroke, especially in acute stroke treatment. So these are some of the publications by the neuroimaging team. You can see that they have worked with our Faculty of Engineering to develop a way to diagnose intracerebral hemorrhage and various other systematic review. And these are some of the publications that I'm sure there are many more publications. And other projects that are ongoing are neuroimaging in brain tumors, stroke, vessel wall imaging, perfusion studies, and then there's chemical exchange saturation transfer for brain tumors. So this, you can see that we work together with the neuroimaging team. Now I'd like to move on to the Neurosciences Research Group, which forms the biggest group of these trilogy, if you call it, of this three group network. So it's chaired by me, and we are a group of clinicians which consists of neurologists, neurosurgeons, and neuroscientists. And our research is mainly clinical, translational, and some, of course, with the neuroscientists is quite fundamental. And if you just look, as clinicians, we see neurological diseases and neurosurgical diseases, and our neuroscientists here have been working on various diseases in animal models, depression, Parkinson's disease, aging, addiction, and cognition. And these are just a summary of the diseases that are prevalent in UKM and this research that's ongoing. So stroke, Parkinson's disease, epilepsy, ataxia, neuromuscular diseases, small fiber neuropathy, whereas the neurosurgical diseases are traumatic brain injury, spina bifida and brain tumors, gamma knife. We have a gamma knife center, and we can do gamma knives research, spinal cord injuries. And for the neuroscience projects, there are a lot of elucidating the mechanisms of neuroprotective pathways, looking at tocotrienol rich fractions, gut microbiome, zebrafish models, metabolomics. These are some of the strengths. I've just highlighted the strengths here. And just this is a snapshot of neurosurgery activity that's going on in terms of their research. So you can see that Dr. Palani here has obtained a spina bifida FRGS grant on molecular mechanism of neuroinflammation in a retinoic acid-induced spina bifida mouse model. So this is a very fundamental study conducted by, led by our neurosurgeon, which is very, very nice to see. And then we have also a neurotralogue study, which is on impact of COVID with traumatic, on emergency surgeries, especially on traumatic brain and spinal injuries. So this is a multi-center international study where our team has collaborated. And this NEST registry is a study where we look at the herbal supplement called NeuroAid. It's not herbal, it's now been marketed for spinal cord injuries and brain injuries. And Dr. Ramesh Kumar is leading in that. And he has various publications on that. And you can see some of the papers that has come out from this research. And gamma knife research is also coming because we now have a gamma knife center, and Professor Dato Jagan, Dr. Ramesh, and all the neurosurgeons are involved. And the head of neurosurgery is Professor Dr. Azizi, and he's also involved in all of the research. And this is just to share with you some of the work publication that has come out of this research from neurosurgery team. And as you know, neurosurgeons are very busy, and this is amazing that they have done so much work. And this is, so when we go moving on to neurology, I have to divide it into disease because that's the easiest way of looking at it. So let's start with the stroke research, and the lead for the stroke research is Dr. Lau Zikang. He is a primary investigator for investigator-initiated international clinical trial. So he has published very widely in Lancet and on about TEACH2, which is an international clinical trial. And this was part of his PhD in University of Nottingham. So it is tranexamic acid in intracerebral hemorrhage. And we have Dr. Wan Ashraf, who is very, very into hyperacute stroke, and he is the principal investigator for another international trial called Trident. And we have Professor Dr. Wan Nur Nafisa, who's our current head of Department of Medicine. She's the primary investigator for mesenchymal stem cell study, which is in pipeline now. We have done the part 1, where I was the primary investigator, but this is now we're going to the second part. This is an industry-led clinical trial. And two of our stroke neurologists have been appointed as the has been selected to be the World Stroke Organization Stroke Future Leader Program. So they have a great vision. And the type of research in stroke has been predominantly clinical, and we like to move towards fundamental or translational. And our stroke research depends, is very much revolves around primary, secondary prevention, where we control of blood pressure, diabetes, anticoagulant, and also in the field of diagnosis of stroke, where we use CT or advanced imaging, and also in the field of acute treatment using thrombolysis, stem cells, and whether we can control intracerebral hemorrhage, BP control, and so on, or any hemostatic treatment such as tranexamic acid, or any complications with regards to stroke. Let me just, these are our international collaborators for stroke, and stroke riskometer is something that we have been working very closely with Professor Valerie Figin, and this was launched in Malaysia, the Malay version, in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, or early 2014, and I was involved in this as a pioneer in bringing stroke riskometer here, and it's now being continued on this project. And I mentioned earlier, Professor Nicola Sprigg and Professor Philip Bath from University of Nottingham, where we still conduct this TEACH2 study and TEACH3. And Interact, Trident, and Optimus are part of the Georges Institute from University of South Wales, Australia. And the Florey Institute, the AVERT dose is a rehabilitation trial. So it is also an international study. You can see our stroke team is very, very active. And you can see this is the snapshot of all the research projects that's gone ongoing or completed with our stroke team. And they're mainly clinical. And you can see the ongoing, completed, and planning applications. So the ongoing, you can see in green, AVERT dose, post-stroke, and all these. Some of them are master study. Prime and Ribus are international, and intracranial, extracranial are master study. And you can see multi-center, which one of these are multi-center. You can see the AVERT dose involves the rehabilitation team, so it is a multi-center trial and or international trial. And this is interdisciplinary. So we have all you know, the stroke research is quite extensive, as you can see. And let me move on to Parkinson's research, which is my area predominantly, although I have worked in stroke research before. I'm the lead, and Professor Sharul Azmin is another movement disorder neurologist who obtained his PhD from University of Melbourne, and we have a PD nurse, Siti Hajar, and our publications related to Parkinson's disease is more than 50, and predominantly in the initial part were mainly master's project, and we have more than 40 projects. And our projects are mainly interventional. We have some randomized control trials that has been published, and descriptive studies, cross-sectional, retrospective, systematic reviews. And we have in translational studies where we have collaborated with UMBI. We have done biomarker study for cognition, impulse control behavior, where we had looked at the genetic predisposition. And we are now collaborating with the GP2 program, Global Parkinson's Genetic Program, under Michael J. Fox Foundation with Dr. Kin Mok from UCL. We also have multidisciplinary projects where we now Prof Norazlin has involved us for her FRGS grant on educating caregivers on Parkinson's disease. And these are our collaborators, and we have biobanked Parkinson's genetic samples of more than 400 samples since 2006 or 2007. And we have various strong collaborators with University of Malaya, Professor Lim Shenyang and Professor Tan Ai Hui. And this is our industry who sponsored our probiotics. And we're also doing ataxia research, and we are only research center doing spinocerebellar ataxia research in Malaysia. And for this, we have obtained Dana Impact Perdana in the year of 2019, and our PhD student, Dr. Yap, Mr. Yap, is completing. And we also managed to obtain the MOSTI ICF grant to develop a cerebellar ataxia monitoring system using video kinematics and deep learning. This is ongoing, and our strong collaborators from faculty kejuruteraan Alam Bina is Dr. Gan, and also Dr. Amira, Dr. Azrul from FTSM, and Professor Tang, and our main collaborators, Professor Bart from Radboud University, Netherlands. And this is still ongoing, and this is still new, and we hope we can do more with ataxia. And moving on to epilepsy research, it was started by Emeritus Professor Dr. Raymond Azmanali since the year 1998. And now it's taken over by Professor Tan Hui Jan, who is the head of neurology unit as well, and Dr. Kuching Son, who is very extremely very dynamic, and he's obtained many research collaborations with his great networking skills. And we now have a total of 80 epilepsy projects in the past and ongoing, and approximately 85,000 worth of university grants cumulatively, and external grants of 395,000. And the projects include traumatic brain injury, EEG, neuropsychology, and epilepsy, depression. Of course, we haven't included everything because it will just take a long time. And Professor Tan has developed an epilepsy app, which has won the Educational Innovation Award. And Dr. Kuching Sung has also obtained GGPM, and our collaborators are in Monash. And there's numerous publications, all in most of it in high impact journal. I haven't listed them. And this moving on to our neuromuscular and peripheral nerve research group, we have the lead by Professor Dr. Rabbani and Ramli. She also obtained an FRGS. Her interest is in small fiber nerve research, and she got a fundamental research grant. And Dr. Ng Chen Fei, who's also a neurophysiologist and neuromuscular expert, and the area of interest is in muscle disorders, peripheral nerve disorders, and motor neuron disease, and where they're part of the National Movement Motor Neuron Disease collaboration with University of Malaya and University Science Malaysia, also part of the National Registry for Motor Neuron Disease, Pan-Asian Committee Treatment for ALS. So there's a lot of interest in neuromuscular research, and especially with the treatment for Pompe disease. You can see that there's an investigator-initiated study here by Sanofi, because there's now new treatment for Pompe disease, and now we are part of the center being involved in the registry for this. And we do have our research supported by our neurology lab, where we have nerve ultrasound and nerve conduction study machine and electromyography machines. And this is a part, it makes our, our study very, make it easy for us to conduct our studies in neuromuscular and peripheral nerve. So what about neuroscientists? We have quite a number of neuroscientists, all very active and dynamic. And you can see here Professor Jaya Kumar from the Department of Physiology. These are just the key words that I extracted from his current research. He has done numerous research, I know, and this is the current ongoing ones. And he's worked on gut microbiome using probiotics, and on bird's nest and Alzheimer's disease in various aspects of it. And also looking at polydrug dependence induced neuroplasticity. Actually, Dr. Jaya's interest is in addiction, and he is also working on gut microbiome, Alzheimer's disease, and bird nest. And he was the recipient, or he led the International Brain Research Organization Neuroscience School on Neuromics last year, which was very, very excellent. and he also doing various other studies, including machine learning. And his publication is also numerous in high impact journals, and I don't have time to include all of them. And the next is our Professor Hanafi Ahmad Damanhuri, who from the Department of Biochemistry. His interest is in cognition and aging and neurodegenerative diseases, and he's done numerous work on Alzheimer's disease, including omics, and current ongoing research project are these two, but he's done so many other research on neurodegenerative diseases, including looking at vitamin E, effects of vitamin E on cognitive decline and so on. And Professor Teo Seong Lin is another neuroscientist who works on a zebrafish model, and his interest is in Parkinson's disease, and he's also currently received the fundamental grant and also FRGS grant, which is still ongoing, and his keywords is Parkinson's disease and zebrafish. So I have to work with Professor Teo together to develop some neuroprotective treatment for Parkinson's disease. And Dr. Fairoz is looking at, this is his current project, which is a GUP project on Alzheimer's disease, Kalulut Hani on Alzheimer's disease, whereas Dr. Tan, he's working on metabolomics. He's from the Department of Biochemistry, Dr. Tan Jen Kit. He's looking at mitochondrial metabolome in rats with aging, and metabolome of the memory impairment in zebrafish, and then tocotrienol rich fraction on cognitive function, and a supplement on cognitive performance as well. So basically, we can see that a lot of us are working together in some aspects, and the clinicians are predominantly clinical work, but we are together as a group, and we have worked together in numerous projects, and I think we are evolving and developing and getting stronger together. And these are some of the publications in high impact. There are more, but this is what was shared by Dr. Lau Zikang. This is his own publication, and you can see that he's published in all Q1 journal Instruct, and as first author, and also as this is Lancet Neurology, and you can see his name there, and Dr. Jagan as well is part of that, and there's so many others. This is publication by Dr. J, Nutrients and GBD study, which I'm part of. We get publication in Lancet, and because of our collaboration with the Global Burden of Diseases. And this is just to summarize our facilities, team, and grants. We have outpatient services, stroke care unit, video telemetry unit, nerve conduction study, electromyography, TCD, nerve ultrasound, TMS machine. And these are our team as a neurologist, the clinician, and we have grants, various grants. I didn't calculate the amount. And we have international collaborators with many MOU and MOA. We're going to sign an MOU with Monash University, Malaysia. We have local collaborators working with us since 1998. And these are our strategies for enhancing neuroscience research in UKM. Basically, in the last year, we were strengthening multidisciplinary research ecosystem, where we had some focus group brainstorming sessions and interactive sessions. And this year we are gaining momentum, where we will increase networking and partnership, and with MOUs with industry, NGOs, and obtaining national grants. And inshallah, in the next few years, we will sustain it by increasing our international collaboration, nurturing new talents, and we will hopefully, with our publications, grants, patents, and all that, will bring impact to the society and scientific community. And with that, this is what we hope for, to have our own brain center. And with that, I thank you. If there's any, if you wish to contact any of us, you can email me, or you can email all the leads in each of the subgroup. With that, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Dr. Norlinah, for the precise presentation.